will now open the floor for question and answer. But I open to question and answer, some comments or probably recommendations that we'd like to share to the presenters. If you want to ask question or say your comment, please use the raised hand button in the chat section, and then I'll gonna ask you to please state your name and then direct your question to the specific author that you'd like to ask or to seek some clarifications. Any comments or questions from the audience? Okay, so while we're waiting for the questions from the audience, I have some. Okay, we have here Zore Golami. Yes, you may unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, I'm Z. I want to congratulate everybody for a very good presentation. Thank you so much. I would like to direct my question to Miss Paula de Assis. Okay, let me. Okay. Miss Paula, assuming that you would conduct your study at present, how do you think the current pandemic situation would affect the results of it?
Thank you, Ms. Zore. So I did my study last year, November, where it was more relaxed in terms of the restrictions here in the Philippines. So currently now, we're back to more restrained conditions. Recently, we've had enhanced community quarantine where there is curfew and reduced mobility. So currently, if I will conduct my study now, I guess most of the shoppers now have reduced mobility and even lesser frequency of going to the channels. And I'm guessing that they will prefer going to channels that are nearer to their homes because of the reduced in mobility. So these are our mini marts, our sari-sari stores. So these are the local mom and pop stores here in the Philippines. And for the higher socioeconomic class, maybe online shopping will be one of the options. So I guess that will be the changes. And then in terms of changes in average spend, I'm seeing now that in the data from our work, we're seeing that consumers are really reducing their spend now. They're trying to economize and shift to cheaper alternatives. And then for categories, they are also prioritizing. Example, choco powdered beverages, they see it as unimportant and they drop it in their basket. So they're really prioritizing the goods that they are buying currently. So that's it po.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Paula. Any other questions or comments from the audience? Okay, maybe I'd like to hear the thoughts of Sir Pangindian on the result of your study on the influencer persona. I'm just wondering because
thank
previous
you, Dr. Rain.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
I'm just wondering, because previous studies you mentioned in your research that attitude supposedly is a mediating factor. What do you think has changed? What in the Philippines or something unique in the psyche or attitude of the Filipino consumers that's not that's why it did not really translate to be a strong mediating variable in your study.
Okay, Dr. Ray. So thank you for your questions. So, copying Dr. Tulao, every question is very important as a faculty.
Yes, yeah.
Nakuha tayo kay Dr.
Yes,
kay
oo
Dr.
nga.
June. Oo nga. So yun, sir. Actually, the direct influence of the influencer persona to consumer purchase intention is really evident, having a score of 0.899. So yun yung hypothesis 1 namin. But when the external factors affecting purchase intention, medyo nag-weaken eh. What brought of this is that one is that people who purchase this product, kasi some of the products are foreign products. So there will be some people who might be paid or not paid at all because we didn't have some contact directly with this influencer, whether they were paid directly or indirectly or in kind. Some of the beauty products were available from abroad, or the owners are from abroad, but they have maybe some presence lang eh. But some of if I may mention some of the products like Jeffree Star of Jeffree Star Cosmetics, Huda Katan, wherein Huda Beauty yung product name nila, Michelle Fan of EM Cosmetics, Anna K, all covered, Unclots of Unclots Brushes, Shek's Diary of Diet Coach, B. Cortez of DIY line, among others dun sa mga influencers, some of which are not really well known. We were also contemplating on the first part whether we're going to include celebrity endorsers like and sila Vice Ganda, her counterpart dun sa Showtime, but there will be undue bias with regard kasi they have more advantage kasi they're seen on TV eh. So that also affected with regard to some of the influence, kasi we did give out on our instrument some of the names of this influencer, some of which were in with regard to the mediating variable of external factor affecting purchase intention. It didn't result quite significantly compared dun sa direct relationship from the influencer persona to the consumer. So we didn't ask anymore about what exactly these external factors, kasi it's a quantitative analysis or quantitative research. So we didn't bother anymore asking what were these external factors behind the relations ng paper namin.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Sir Pangindian, for the clarification. Yeah. By the way, the authors, you can also ask the other authors if you have some
Thank you, Doctor.
clarifications. Yeah, and if you're interested to know more about their papers. Any other questions? Ms. Z, are you still raising your hand, or you're not just able to put it down or take it off? Yeah, okay. Thank you. Any other questions or clarifications from the presenters? Paula, you might want to ask your fellow presenters. Maybe while Paula is thinking, I'd like to, although I'm part of the paper, I'm also co-author of Anna. Yeah, but one of the surprising findings of the paper was the online retail therapy does not readily translate to positive emotions or behavior. And what do you think are the reasons behind that in the Philippine context? Yeah.
Actually, sir, based on the paper also, I think there are a lot of other motivations of consumers. That's why they only what do you call this? They only use online retail therapy to actually alleviate their sadness and not to gain happiness or to gain positive emotions. More on more on hedonic I mean more on utilitarian motivation, like yung kung ano yung need ng consumers, yun po yung ginagawa nila for online retail therapy. Not necessarily sir to
Make them happy.
yun nga, to gain happy, to make them happy, to gain more positive emotion. So, kumbaga, it's really surprising that it is not a long-term strategy po that they use, na parang they just want, in an instant, they just want to alleviate their sadness, to alleviate their stress, and yun.
Yeah.
I think that's the
yeah.
I was thinking po if ever na maybe the results would be different if we interviewed people from the higher SEC, maybe because they have really the money to spend on maybe factors like reduced jobs or prioritization are affecting their online shopping behavior now. Maybe that's why it's not really tied up to happiness, but maybe the answers will be different if if we interviewed a higher SEC because um, I think it affects in some way, but
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Maybe
okay, what yes, sir. Yes. It's
yeah, no,
long.
I'm just because it's like a transient state, a temporary state. Yeah, so parang if you buy something, it's the value or the happiness that you gain from that experience easily fade away. Yeah. And then that's why
Yes.
it does not translate to long-term well-being. So it's like a band-aid solution for sadness. You're sad, you buy, you're happy for a while, and then later on, the next day you wake up, you're sad again. So it's a I don't know, it's a cycle, which on
Yes,
the side of the manufacturers, the retailers, probably it's positive because you can elicit more sales coming from the people. And yeah, if you factor in also the comment of Miss Paula on SEC, that's where probably bulk of the market is because they have the money to burn, and if they will probably develop that certain habit of sad now, buy, and then tomorrow you're gonna do it again, so it will gonna translate to sales. Yeah.
Dr. Rain, question on that thing, since it's more of an impulse buying, wherein the respondents of, the research local where the research was conducted is that we have weak return policy. So there might be some changes if with regard to there will be a better return policy na right after you purchase it, you felt differently na parang teka sayang yung pera ko, balik ko na nga to. Tapos full money refund, no questions at all. Baka it might have some effect, no? Or different result as to the study nila Miss Anna. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be a factor, yeah, because if we don't have a, we don't I suppose I don't want to say that we don't have a system for that, but probably we have a weak system safeguarding yung return policies or consumer. It's less strictly implemented when it comes to consumer protection. Yeah, if there's a probably more stringent implementation, I'm sure we have the laws, and somewhere along the way the implementation is where it is weak. But if we strengthen it, probably there's gonna be a different perception when you buy something, especially online. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any questions for the paper of Sir Ryan, on impact of online shopping values, atmospherics, and electronic word of mouth on repurchase intention among millennials? Offhand, I'd like to ask Mr. Acosta on sort of deeper explanation on why some of the variables turned out to be insignificant when previous literature says that they are significant.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon. I know, Ryan, you're elated to present.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, it was mentioned based on my presentation, on our presentation a while back, that there were actually recent studies wherein most of the variables have direct effects of dissatisfaction. But it turned out, based on my research, that only some, particularly with the stimulus or particularly with the stimuli, are or basically have the direct effects to dissatisfaction. I think one reason for this is because it is concentrated to one particular segment, which is basically the young millennials. Young millennials. That's why I think when it comes to the outcome of the study, or the outcome, or basically the result, it has turned out that only some of the variables were considered have a direct effect or effects to e-satisfaction. So in this particular study, only utilitarian shopping value, effectiveness of information content, and web entertainment have a direct effect to e-satisfaction. Wherein some of the wherein I mean, compared to the recent studies before, particularly with Pashar and Farshad, so most of the variables have a direct effect to e-satisfaction. There.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Acosta, for that clarification. Any other questions or comments from the audience? We have until 3:30 if uh, to discuss and probably give our recommendations to the authors. Okay, Anna, Miss Anna.
Sorry. Sorry. Good afternoon again. I would like to direct my question to Miss Paula because I can relate with her study because I'm working with a retail chain. Oh, so what can you recommend in terms of the four P's? Given the result of the study that there is a decrease in mobility, there is a decrease in shopping frequency, and increase in basket size. Please, Paula.
Okay. Ma'am, first, in terms of placement, no, prioritizing the right channel. So, if manufacturer or retailer perspective, I guess focus more on the proximity channels because of the reduced mobility. So, these stores that are nearer to homes, because these are the stores where consumers are buying their grocery items too first. And then next on product, we see two types of shoppers. Those who can still afford and really buy more than what they're used to buying. So for this, in terms of promotions, we could focus on making them buy more, increase their average spend. So highlighting our big packs. But for bulk of the consumers coming from the lower SEC, more of communicating the value and having promotions na would highlight discounts, savings, since these are something a few pesos discount is very substantial already to the lower SEC. And then in terms of product assortment, for proximity stores, focus on small sachets and mid packs, right? And product, place, promo, pricing. So in terms of pricing, I guess more of highlighting value again. So if they will save if they buy 6 pieces and they are consuming those products every day. So why not offer these to our consumers? And I guess communication as the last lever also. I mean, we need to communicate that these are the savings that the consumers will get.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Paula.
Hi, ma'am. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the audience? Okay, if there are no more questions, we're gonna proceed to the awarding of a certificate to our presenters today. Yeah, I think there's someone who joined. Janine. Okay. Is she going to ask questions or clarifications? Okay. Kuya Mel, maybe we can proceed with the awarding. if there are no more questions from the audience, hold on. I think there are some participants who just joined in now. For those who just came in, we are now open to accommodate questions and clarifications. You can direct your question to the specific authors if you have one or any comments regarding their paper. Kuya Mel, may question ka ba?
Baka may natanong ni Kuya Mel.
Oo, baka may question si
Hindi
Kuya Mel,
masagot.
hindi natin siya tinatanong, di ba?
Kaya nga, Kuya Mel, take it away.
Wala po akong katanungan to.
Okay, sige
Sino po?
Ito naman, oo. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so if there's no more question, let's